Hey guys, Simone here. I am very excited about today's video, and as you can tell by the title, today we're going to be talking about Toy Story 4. So I'm going to talk about why I think several characters in this film are inaccurate and why I believe this ultimately led to an ending that was unsatisfied and unjustified. Now, disclaimer, I do not hate this movie. This video is just my opinion based on some initial thoughts and some extra research that I've done. Like I said, it's my opinion and you guys don't have to agree with me either. But anyway, let's get to it. Okay, to start off, I'm going to start off with something that's not going to get me all riled up and start talking about Bonnie and why I don't like her. I loved Bonnie in the third film. I thought she was really great, but what the heck is going on with Bonnie in this film? It's not even, I don't know. Why is she? Bonnie made a promise to Andy that she was going to take care of Woody. I don't know what happened in this movie, but she's just straight up neglecting Woody for literally no reason. It's not like she grew up and outgrew Woody. She plays with every other toy except for Woody. It hurts my heart and makes me really angry. I don't like her. I just don't think that's really realistic. Did I expect that Woody was going to be her favorite? I don't know what I expected. So I've heard some things say that this movie takes place 2 years after the previous film. If this was 2 years later, why is everything in Bonnie's room so strange? Why is Woody still the way that he is? Okay, why are the other toys treating them like they're new? Whatever the doll's name is, when she's like, okay, remember guys, I told you guys this is what happens when mom cleans, we get put into the closet. If this was 2 years later, they would be accustomed to all of that kind of stuff by now. Woody would be accustomed to the fact that he's not in charge by now, you would think. And maybe it's not 2 years, maybe it's not that long after. But if it's not that long after, why is Bonnie neglecting Woody? The whole situation with Bonnie kind of leads me into my issue with the beginning of this movie. I really felt gypped, or like it was a joke. It kind of made a whole mockery out of the end of the third film. The third film really did feel like it was a good closure. You had this really, really tender moment of the toys moving on, of Andy moving on, and them going to live with Bonnie and starting their new life. And then she just doesn't care, and turns out nothing is good. The movie undid a lot of the progress that the characters made in the last movie, and it kind of made the ending of Toy Story 3 meaningless and worthless. I feel as though if Woody wasn't ready to let go of Andy, he should not have donated himself to Bonnie. But I know that Woody is the type of person who tries really, really hard to do what's best for others, and I know that he was just thinking about what was best for his friends. So maybe Woody wasn't ready to let go of Andy, but he decided that's what's best for the other toys, that's what's best for everyone else, so I'm going to roll with it. It was more important that he was with the people that he cared about and that he was with his friends. And he recognized that yes, it was time to move on. So maybe he didn't personally feel in his heart that he was ready to move on, but he knew in his head that he should move on. I can understand a lot. I work really, really hard to understand a lot. Like I mentioned, I can see why Woody would still be hung up in Andy in Toy Story 4, but both Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4 actually showed us that Woody isn't really that picky. He just wants to be loved. Because he made that decision, and to me, at the end of Toy Story 3, it did feel like he was moving on. Definitely Andy moved on, the rest of the toys moved on. To me, it felt like Woody was at least ready to accept trying to move on.
So long, partner.
So what I'm saying, guys, is that Woody thinks he made the wrong decision at Toy Story 3 because he is not the center of attention. He is not the most important toy. He's not getting played with. He's not in charge. He's not being loved by a child. Okay, those are all the reasons why he thinks he made the wrong decision. Then it does not make sense for his decision at the end of the film to then abandon the friends he loves so that he can not be played with, not be the most important toy, not be in charge, and not be loved by a child. Please tell me how that makes sense, because I don't get it. And I'm going to talk about how the themes of the first 3 movies kind of don't make sense with what happens in the 4th movie. Okay, so in the first one, Woody basically went from I need to be number 1 at all times to Andy's happiness is more important than my selfishness. Change can be a good thing, and there's always room for new friends. Toy Story 2 went from Woody thinking, I'm worthless if I'm not perfect, to I would like to be loved and adored by everyone, to toys are meant to be played with, and I can make a bigger difference to one child than I can to many.
Somewhere in that pat of stuffing is a toy who taught me that life's only worth living if you're being loved by a kid. And I traveled all this way to rescue that toy because I believed him.
Toy Story 3. Woody went from being there even when you're not needed is just a part of life, and what's best for me and for Andy is what's best for everyone. 2. Change can be a good thing. Sometimes we need to move on and let go. Being there for a child is the most important thing next to being with the people you care about, and I'll do what's best for the people I love. So Toy Story 4, Woody went from, never mind, I still need to be the most important thing. I decided I can't move on. I made the wrong decision in giving myself away, and I still want to be loved by a child. Now, this last part, there's nothing wrong with that in saying that Woody realizes he still wants to be loved by a child, because that is a theme that kind of does surround all three of them. All toys desire that. All toys desire to be loved. But then at the end of Toy Story 4, Woody turns to, I'm going to leave everyone I care about and become a lost toy and never be with a child again, but instead stay with the toy I barely had a thing with a decade ago. What? The theme in this movie gets really convoluted and kind of contradicts itself. Toys are meant to be played with, toys are meant to be loved, they are meant to make children happy. And then in this film, the way that it introduces Bo Peep kind of shows she's like the first toy that we find that doesn't want a kid and doesn't want to be played with, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense in the context of the world, because that's not natural for a toy. And she introduces Woody to the idea that toys can have their own life, which is fine in a different universe. Not in this one. It does not fit. It is not congruent at all with the other three things, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If that's supposed to be the theme, then isn't it kind of just a cop-out that they decide that they're going to help other toys get children? Just look at Gabby Gabby. I mean, it would be one thing if after Gabby got her voice box and was rejected by Harmony, they helped her realize that she actually didn't need a child and didn't need an owner and that she was fine by herself. Then maybe I could kind of see that theme coming out of it, okay? But they didn't. Then they taught her to just try again and try to get another child, which she does, which is good. But Bo Peep just told Woody that they don't need a child, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It makes sense in the franchise as a whole, but then the whole thing with Bo Peep it didn't fit that. Had the makers of Toy Story 4 gone with that idea and they stuck with it the whole movie, saying that, oh, toys don't actually need children, like Bo Peep believes, then that would be a more consistent theme for the movie. And that would fit really well for the movie, but it does not fit the other three movies. It's good for the movie. That's why I'm saying it should not exist in this universe. It's just not in Woody's nature to want to be a lost toy or to be a lost toy. In fact, it shouldn't be in any toy's nature. It's not even about Bonnie anymore. I really truthfully do not believe Woody would have made that decision. He wouldn't have given up though on his friends. He wouldn't have given up on himself. He wouldn't have given up. More people are mad about the fact that at the end of this movie, Woody left Buzz than they are about the fact that Woody became a lost toy. You guys, it was always, 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 always supposed to be Woody and Buzz. Always, always, always. And at the end of Toy Story 2, Woody says to Buzz, besides, when it all ends, I'll have old Buzz Lightyear to keep me company for infinity and beyond. Okay! So in Toy Story 3, I had mentioned that the main theme kind of surrounding it is that, sometimes toys gotta learn when to move on, but also that it's most important that they stick together and that they're together as friends. After they're donated, Buzz said, what's important is that we stay together. 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 Is anybody going to talk about how the fact that, towards the end of that movie, when they're all about to be incinerated in the fire. They all hold hands. It's Woody and Buzz. You know, everybody's holding hands because they're all together and they're going to be with each other through thick and thin, literally until death. And Buzz reaches out his hand towards Woody, and he's still struggling, you know, still trying to save everybody. And when he realizes that there's nothing they can do, he realizes what's most important is that whatever happens, they do it together. And he grabs Buzz's hand, and it's a lot. It is a lot. It was always supposed to be Woody and Buzz. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Bo Peep and why I don't like her. It's just that this Bo Peep is not Bo Peep. When I first saw the trailer, actually, I thought it was a different Bo Peep just because she was acting nothing like herself. Because she's not like herself. Her character was the epitome of damsel in distress. You know, is that an interesting character? No. No, not at all. It's a trope that's very, very boring. I mean, she was boring. There was not much to Bo and Woody's relationship, really. You know, it was very, very static. It wasn't much. I mean, it was fine, but she did not have much of a personality. Her personality was nice and sweet and kind and nice. I already said that. That was her personality. Okay, yes, do I think she needed more of a personality? Well, because she wasn't important, I didn't think that it mattered that much, because it didn't. But Toy Story 4 gave us that flashback. That flashback was a cop-out because that flashback would not have actually happened in any of the first 3 movies. Bo Peep is the one who's all like action and yes, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this and this and this and yeah, I'm strong. That's not Bo Peep. It's great, but it's not Bo. The real Bo Peep would have never, ever tried to convince Woody to leave Andy. Are you kidding me? I don't think, especially at that time, that Woody would have considered going, especially for Bo Peep. Especially for Bo Peep. She's not the same person. This Bo Peep is bold and sarcastic. And I understand that people who go through traumatic situations can change. I understand that. But I don't think she would have turned into the person that she is, to say the least. And now she gets angry. And, you know, Woody even gives her that little talk on loyalty, and she's not a loyal toy, and she's just kind of, I don't know. And she's a really strong character now, and I think that's really great, but I think it should have been a different character. And Woody would not have abandoned everything that he loved for her. I was just not very happy that Bo Peep became more important than Buzz Lightyear. Moving on to Gabby Gabby. I like that Pixar decided to do something different with the Toy Story franchise and make a redeemable villain who isn't really that evil necessarily, but she herself was honestly so manipulative, and that's kind of awful. And when she finally got Woody to hand over the voice box, it was a total guilt trip. Like, the things she was doing weren't, you know, being a good person. She just wasn't nice. Do I think then that she shouldn't have gotten her redeemable moment where Woody tried to help her? I don't think that, because it is very on brand for Woody to want to help toys regardless, just like he did with Lotso. You know, he tried to save him. He's going to give toys a second chance. A lot of the decisions that Woody made throughout this movie were, in fact, very in character, very on brand for him, and I really appreciate that Pixar, you know, tried to stay true there. But the places where Woody was not being Woody was in the flashback, and then also at the beginning when he was with Bonnie. It was kind of Woody, but I don't think it should have been Woody. I think at that point Woody should have evolved enough to not still be that same person. You know, he's reverting to his old ways. So it was technically in character for Woody. It was just a total backtrack of character for Woody. Lastly, we're going to talk about Buzz Lightyear. I love Buzz. But in this film, he was just an idiot. There's not much more I can say, and I know a lot of people have spoke out about that. Even when he was a space ranger, honestly, he still made smart decisions, and he became very proactive and strong and caring and loyal, and you know, he took charge of missions. If you guys remember in the second film, when he took charge of the mission to go save Woody, he made all those decisions on his own. And then you'd think that he would understand a little colloquial turn of the phrase, like a little voice in your head, and not all of a sudden become stupid. And of course, just plot convenience. So it was funny, but it was stupid. The real Buzz would be like, okay, here's what we need to do. This is what we're going to do. This is the plan. This is the game plan. And he would go after it. So they ruined Buzz. And that hurt me too. A lot of things in this movie just hurt me. But like I said, I do not hate this movie. I really, really liked it. It really, really, really hurts me. I think it betrays their other 3 movies. It definitely betrays my heart. I think it betrays the characters, and there are just so many things that I don't think are accurate about it. Well, that's all I have to say for now on the subject. Let me rephrase that. That's all I'm going to say on the subject. I make new videos every Thursday. Every other Thursday, I do some kind of review like this, and on the other Thursdays, I do videos of me singing. So make sure that you're subscribed and hit that like button. I'm sorry if most of this was just a big rant. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Every time I think of it, I just want to cry.